Welcome to Amp Up Solar Talk. Today we're diving into the future of solar with Pham from Aptos Solar. From high efficiency solar panels to cutting edge microinverters, Aptos is making waves. What makes their tech stand out? What's new in solar? Frank's going to discuss it all with us today. And if you'd like to join the conversation, make sure you drop your questions in the chat. Frank, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me, Kelly, and I'll be honored to answer any questions that you and your audience would have for me. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Let's talk about Aptos Solar. What is the mission behind the company, and what makes your company stand out from others in the solar industry?
Appreciate that. We created a bunch of us, a few of us actually, uh, company founders created Aptos Solar to serve one purpose, and that is to bring renewable energy to the homeowners at a lower level cost of energy than what they would have to pay to their local utility company. And so our aspiration is to make renewable energy cost effective and something that is aesthetically beautiful for the homeowners to have on their roof and something that they can be proud of. In the meantime, saving them quite a bit of money from the standard utility bill.
That all sounds really nice, being cost effective, but tell me something. You're known for your solar panels, and you said something about aesthetically beautiful. How do you balance aesthetics with performance and durability and make sure that lasts over time?
Correct. So since I'm the one of the original founder, and also the core head of engineering for the company, my mission is very simple. We have to do all the aspect of bringing a good product to market, and that is number one, safety. We have to design a product that meets all of the safety requirements in all regions of the world, especially in the U.S. With high wind loading for hurricane. We're the highest rated hurricane panel in the United States. Um, Aesthetically, the homeowner have to be proud of the product that they would have on their roof. So whatever that we design, we have to have the looks of it very well. And then, of course, high efficiency to be able to deliver the highest power generation per square feet or the per area of that, taking very valuable real estate on that roof space on that.
Right. So you talked about being able to resist extreme weather. What kind of testing do you send your solar panels through as you're developing them?
Yep. So we have a standard safety test and performance test that is put out by UL and IEC, which is the standard testing code of the requirement to bring product to the United States. So what we have also is that by doing that, we have designed our equipment to make sure that we survive 3 times the requirement of that testing. So let's say per se,
3 times.
under stress testing, yep, under stress testing, if you pass that, then the folks that put out the testing standard would assume that your panel would last, say, 25 years. But what
Hmm.
we do is that we put our panel through the stress testing of those testing requirement and making sure that we pass whatever that they're required to do 3 times of what that requirement is. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Stress testing goes into things like um, kind of mechanical loading for the wind testing. But the main thing for reliability and longevity of the panel, they go through what they call thermal testing and pressure. So we subject the panel to very long hours of extreme pressure, high temperature, and
Okay.
high humidity. Those are the 3 components that all engineers know that will
Hmm.
degrade electronic at a very high rate. And so whatever that they require 1,000 hours in these extreme test condition reactors or test chambers, we have passed 3,000 hours under that. So it really showed the performance of that. And so our panels is approved by all the banks, major banks that owns the product, and also requiring bankability testing. So we pass all that testing.
Wow. So 3 times what is required.
By industry standards, yes, that's
That's
correct.
pretty amazing. We do have some questions coming in, Frank. Here's one from Bill Richardson. He says, do the bifacial panels need to be mounted at an angle? And before you answer that question, let's talk about the difference between bifacial panels and monofacial panels, first of all, for our viewers. And then let's talk about what are the benefits of each and when would you install one over the other? And then we can answer his question, do they need to be mounted at an angle?
Okay, so I guess the terminology that best describe bifacial is enabling the sun from all directions. So if
Okay.
you think about it, when we design bifacial panel, we want to make sure that we pick up all the light um, as direct sunlight coming from the perpendicular to the panel, as well as any indirect light, which is reflected light coming in from any surfaces. And that's the bifaciality. So it's able to gather light from both sides of the panel. So let me give you your audience an example. If you take the panel from the front side only, and if it's a monofacial, then let's say that it's 1,000 watt per meter square irradiance. The panel is rated to get for our high power panel is 440 watt panel for residential panel and 550 for any kind of ground mount panels that Signature offer. So if you have one direct sunlight coming down at 1,000 watt per meter square, you would get 440 watt from one side. If you flip the panel upside down and face the back of the panel and have the direct sunlight coming on that front, facing the back of the panel directly, that would get 90% of what that panel is rated. So let's say if the panel is rated for 440, you would actually pick up 400 watt. So if you imagine that if you have two sun, one shining from the front, one shining in the back, you would get one full sun from both sides. You would get 440 watt plus a 400 watt on that, assuming that there was two sun, which we know that it's not. So that
Right.
tells you that the back side is 90% efficient to the front side of that.
So that's on the bifacial panels.
That's correct, on the bifacial versus a monofacial. The monofacial is basically having a black backsheet that covers the back of the cell structure, so you're not able
Mhm.
to gather the scatter lights. And then on the audience, by the way, it's a great question by your audience
Mhm.
on what panel to mount it. If he is to mount it on a ground mount, he should mount that panel at roughly about 35 to 40 degree, facing directly south, due south, because we're in the northern hemisphere. So he should face it due south. And if he's a really enthusiast about solar, he should clear that out. And if he lines it with white bedrocks, he will see quite a bit of light scattering, up to almost 25% of power
Because you're
harvested from the
getting
back.
more of that reflection off of the
That's
white
correct.
rocks
That's
underneath.
correct. That's correct.
Okay. So I have another question here from Mark. He says, can I install these panels myself?
Absolutely, you can. In fact, if you have, let's say that you buying the panel at home, and you can do it yourself, absolutely you can do that. But my recommendation always is that one of the beautiful part about Signature Solar is that you know the do-it-yourself folks can do it, and oftentimes Signature Solar can recommend you to your local electrician and they can install it for you if you buy the equipment. And at a very minimum cost, you can hire them to put the panel on, or you can do it yourself. But make sure that you have a master electrician to tie all the electrical work together, because you have to get the permitted in that municipality where you're at, and have the design sign off. And then also final inspection has to be done by your local municipality government. Okay, so be a little bit careful on that because it is high voltage, okay, with direct current. So just be careful on that and have a proper electrician connected.
Very good answer. We have another question about installations that says, can you, this is from Bill Richardson, is there any gain if these are laid flat?
Yes. So if you think about it, a lot of question is that will the bifacial work, say, on a residential roof where it's laying kind of directly flat on top of the roof line? And the answer is that yeah, you can still pick up about 5% of light. A lot of time people don't realize it, but the wafers or the solar cells are so thin that quite a bit of light passes right through the cell itself. And so if you look underneath the panel, if it's directly mounted on your, say, shingle roof, if you look behind the panel, you can see a light illumination on that because the structure is so thin that there's additional light that passes through that. So you get some secondary light, low light illumination in the back, and you can pick up about 5% of power. Also, the other thing is that with the black back sheet, the panel itself absorbs quite a bit of heat, and everybody knows in the electrical world that when electrical component is operated under extreme heat, you lose a bit of efficiency. So the thermal coefficient is much better on a bifacial panel versus a monofacial panel. It runs
Let's talk
cool.
about this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about this black color really quickly. You guys make these really sleek looking, nice looking black, all black panels. Of course, I think you have some other ones as well. Being black, they look really, really nice. Does that affect performance in any way?
No, it doesn't. In fact, the darker the panel, the higher the efficiency is. If you think about why, a lot of people are asking why is the panel black? Well, the panel is black is because it is capturing all the reflective light. So if you think about the black panel itself, the wafer itself or the solar cell itself is a very rough surface. It's all texturized surface area. So if you imagine that the light is bouncing into a mountain range, so when the light comes into a mountain range, it's all entrapped in that. So that's why it's so dark, because the light comes in there and it's all captured, and it's scattering back and forth between all of the peaks on that surface, and that's why the surface looks so black versus a shiny surface where the light would hit it and it will reflect it right off. So you want, the darker the panel is, the better off the solar entrapment is. Okay. And of course,
Great.
aesthetically on the roof, everybody should be, nobody should ever have like a silver frame on top of the roof. It just makes it aesthetically very unpleasing to the homeowner.
So for more efficiency, look for the really dark panels.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, good point. Okay, so we have another question here from Aubrey. Are there any advantages to purchasing a monofacial panel over a bifacial panel?
Absolutely not. If I was buying panel for my house, aesthetically they both look identical, Audrey.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of performance, the bifacial panel will outperform the monofacial 100% of the time, hands
Okay,
down.
let's talk about cloudy days. I know a lot of customers are very curious about what am I supposed to expect on a cloudy day, low light conditions, or maybe I have a lot of shade. And we've had a lot of calls in our customer support that says we can't find it on the spec sheet. Or do these panels have bypass diodes? Right. So how do your panels perform when it comes to performance in low light conditions?
Okay, so it's a two-part question there, Kelly, on low
Okay.
light conditions and then also in shaded area. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for the audience purposes, solar enthusiasts, the first part of that is the low light irradiance. The panel is based on an IV curve. It's a curve of current versus voltage. So the voltage pretty much remain consistent. It's the current that is what is driven by the irradiance. So it's just simply put, on a cloudy day, your panel will still produce, but at a lower output. That's fact.
Sure.
The other
Sure. That
question
makes
that was
sense.
asked was really good. Was that what happened if you have a panel in a single array, and if the tree comes over and he shades one panel? Well,
Right.
if you have a string inverter set up, that's really bad. So if you can imagine that you go in, let's say that you have 10 panels, hook it up to a single string on a string inverter. If one panel
Mm-hmm.
shade, it's like going down a freeway, a single lane freeway. And if one car slow down and the other cars are behind it, of course, all the car will have to slow down, and it will go at the speed of which the front car is leading it.
I
But if
really
you
like how you
imagine,
put that.
That's right. And then if you have a product like Aptos is that signature carry from Aptos, which is a
Hmm.
microinverter. So any home that hooks up, guys, the easiest to hook up panel with microinverter, and I'll explain to you why that is. So let's say that one panel is shaded on that 10 string. If you have microinverter, each panel itself is on its own performance. So imagine that there's 10 cars on the freeway, the same freeway,
Hmm.
except that instead of the freeway having only one lane, the freeway have 10 lanes. So the cars are free to go at the speed at which they go. So if let's say that there's one car that is stalling on the 10-lane freeway, well, the nine other lanes are still going. So you're not being limited by that one car stalling or slowing down on that one lane. So that's the power of a microinverter versus on a shaded roof. So um, you should always design in with microinverters. And it's very cost effective through Signature Solar for all of the do it yourself folks. The other thing is that if you imagine if you bring the roof the panel down directly, it's in direct current. That's DC, okay, direct
Hmm.
current. And then AC stands for alternating current. Alternating current is very safe versus direct current. So let's say I'm just using this as an example for the audience just to
Sure.
get themselves acclimated with that. So alternating current, if your child, and I was one of them when I was younger, I was curious. I stuck my finger into a socket.
Oh
Today
no.
I'm still living to tell about it. I'm still here to explain engineering to you folks. But
Don't do this at
as
home.
yeah, if you are a child, you definitely don't want to stick your finger into a direct current, okay? Because you might not live to tell about it. So having the panel with the microinverter set up right on the roof, it is you immediately take in direct current, which is very very strong coming down from the sun, and then you immediately turning it from direct current to alternating current, which goes down to your house in a very safe way. So always, I recommend if you have a choice to choose microinverter over string inverters on that. Okay, guys.
And why are Aptos's microinverters, how do they compare to others on the market?
Great question. So microinverter is basically all it does is that any inverter does is that it when you capture sunlight and then turn it into electricity, it comes down in the form of direct current, as I just mentioned to you. And
Hmm.
of course, to make it usable in a home, you have to if you have to make an inversion of that from direct current to alternating current, and that's what a microinverter does. The advantage of an Aptos microinverter is that it's rated up to 400 watt, so you're able to extract more power, more energy coming out of your panel, like an Aptos panel, who is 440 watt versus a smaller power panel. In fact, we have our new product that Signature will be carrying coming up in the March April timeframe of 460 watt for the
Oh,
same footprint, much higher in efficiency. And so
okay.
that microinverter is able to extract more power and not be able to clip off the power that you have. So it's an amazing combination of product that Signature carry from Aptos, and when we engineered it, we want to make sure that we engineer it to capture the most amount of current coming out. But Kelly, I wanted to highlight one of the main thing that I wanted to. The purpose of creating for Aptos is to make energy affordable. So for all the folks out there, the best way that you can save money on any solar install, like I said, is to put the effort in and be able to do it yourself, okay? And really take the time like you're doing right now and learning about solar. By doing that, you save yourself so much money, and you will get the exact system that you want.
Hmm.
So Signature is awesome. Their staff is amazing at helping you to design things for your home and make it easy for you. And then they would hook you up with a network of installers of your local community electrician versus say any big company that would go and door knock at your house. These are master electricians that live.
We lost him. So it looks like we've lost Frank. Maybe he'll join back on here in just a minute. Um, what he was saying was a really nice thing that Signature Solar does have a design team. We have sales teams, and we have tech support who are all here to support you. And you can find any of them and ask questions if you go to the contact us on our website at signaturesolar.com. We have a lot of people here who are ready to help you and support you. If you want to find out more about the solar panels or the microinverters, you can find those and more products at signaturesolar.com. We are here to support you. We've got our design team. They can help you set up a system if you're looking to figure out what is the best for your setup. They are here for you to help you design to see what kinds of products would work best for you. We have a sales team. If you already know what kinds of products it is that you're looking for, the sales team can help you think through what kind of products that you need and if one product will work well with the other product. And then we have our tech support that if you have some products and that you've already got them set up, but you're having issues with them, you can always give them a call and they are there to help you work through and troubleshoot some of your issues. So we want to thank Frank for being here and sharing some of his insightful information with us. And to all of our viewers, we thank you for joining us and presenting your questions and joining in on the conversation. Once again, if you want to find out more about these products and more, check us out at signaturesolar.com. And be sure, as always, and like and follow Amp Up for more deeper dives for the latest in solar tech and talks. We'll see you next time on Amp Up.